Hey, good morning, Eastern Oregon, and welcome to this March 17th version of AM Live on EOA, your connection to Eastern Oregon. We're glad that you are here with us today. If you want to find our content, go to EOA.network. That takes you to a link tree where you can find all of our stuff. And always be sure and share and like our stuff. That always helps the algorithm and helps draw attention to the things. And it's a way where that you can support us. We really appreciate that. Here in just a little bit, we are going to have the LeGrand Police Chief, Jason Hayes, just been on the job new maybe a month or so. And be interesting or fun to catch up with Jason. So, how are you, man?
Good. Second Monday. Feels like Monday, too.
Yeah.
Big, long weekend. EOU is finally cutting women's lacrosse.
Yeah.
I mean, it was coming. I hate to say it, but it just never took a real foothold. It's too hard to recruit lacrosse players to a rural area. I mean, the effort was good. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know that it was the best decision they've ever made.
Yeah. No, and I think, and you, I know how you are. You're quiet about that. You were vocal about that when it first started.
Well, it was just,
but it is a strange, strange
very
selection.
strange.
Yeah.
And so, but I put out a post and asked people what they thought they should replace it with, and the consensus is pretty much 2 CCC sponsored sports. People said golf, women's golf, or beach volleyball, pretty much. I mean, those are the majority. There were some other ideas in there, but both of those sports are already in the CCC, and they're both fairly cheap. I mean, golf's not super cheap because you got to work out a deal with a golf course for green fees, but we can build beach volleyball pretty easy. I mean, they already have pits out in front of Quint.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, that might be an idea too. Who knows though? They haven't said
what they're going to do.
What they're going to do to make it Title IX, compliant. I don't know.
So beach volleyball, how many are on that team? Do they have different numbers?
There's 6 starters, which is 3 2-person teams. So you take 2, 2, and 2, and you play. 2 play against 2. 2 play against 2, 2 play against 2, and whoever wins the best out of those 3 wins the match as a team.
Okay. So the match, there's only 2 people on the thing at once.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, it seems like that would be, you'd have fewer people to have to recruit.
It's
also
a little bit, it's close to the same amount of women.
Really?
Yeah, as volleyball, because you end up with a couple backups for each team too. So you end up with 12, 15 girls, just like volleyball. I mean, volleyball has about 12, 15.
Because there's only 2 on it, but you're rotating them.
You don't.
They're not rotating.
There's
but they're
alternates.
Yeah.
If somebody gets hurt or if.
Huh.
So I don't know the exact rules on how they can switch players in and out.
Huh.
But I know the teams in our conferences have 10,
have you ever talked to Kaki about that?
Oh yeah.
What does she think about that?
She thinks that we need beach volleyball.
Yeah.
But she wouldn't be the coach.
Right.
It's a
but she certainly would have a very qualified opinion.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, 100% for sure. But yes, we've talked about it numerous times, and she's a fan of bringing beach volleyball. And people say, well, what about the weather? But the reality of it is all the teams in the CCC that have beach volleyball, including like Bushnell, Corbin, they all deal with it. You know what I mean? It's just part of the living in the Pacific Northwest. We play baseball starting on Thursday, and it's rain. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's snow on the ground.
But the reality is that you're not. When you think of beach volleyball, normally you think of people playing in bathing suits, and clearly in inclement weather they're gonna be wearing something warmer.
Yeah,
the bottom line, right?
I mean, I don't. Yeah, that's fine. I don't.
No, but I'm
Play
just trying
the
the practice of it. I just don't know.
I would imagine. I don't know. I've never watched NAIA beach volleyball match.
Well, yeah. Well, it'd be interesting. Well, hey, you want to do sports?
Let's do it.
All right.
AM Sports Report brought to you by Hobby Habit. Take on the roles of some of Marvel's most famous superheroes and lead them to escape from the depths of Planet Hulk while thwarting the nefarious plots of a few sinister supervillains. The Marvel Multiverse RPG starter set contains all you need to dive into the multiverse and experience firsthand the thrilling lives of superheroes. Available at Hobby Habit in LeGrand, just for the fun of it. I don't think Joe writes these, but if he does, I'm going to smack him. That's not an easy read, man. Joe, I'm going to...
Yeah, run that through ChatGPT.
Yeah, I don't... That might be. Actually, that might be. That sounds ChatGPT. EOU baseball swept the conference series and went 3-1 versus Warner Pack this weekend. That's their first series win of the year for the Mountie baseball team. Easton Corey, who's a Pendleton grad, was named the CCC Pitcher of the Week. He threw 7 innings of 2-hit shutout baseball, striking out 9, no walks. That's a good start. He's had some really quality starts for the Mounties. He originally went to Oregon State, transferred back to EOU, and he's been solid on the mound for this EOU baseball team. The Mounties host UBC this weekend at Optimus Field, and we'll talk more about that in times on Thursday. EOU softball went down to Reading and swept Simpson 4-0. Senior Hope Burke was named the CCC Player of the Week after hitting .500, collecting 7 hits, 8 RBIs with 2 3-run home runs. The ladies host College of Idaho this coming weekend up at Peggy Anderson Memorial Field, and I'll have those times for you on Thursday as well. EOU Track and Field's Nick Robinson was named the CCC Male Track Athlete of the Week. He took first in the 100 with a time of 10.77 and the 200 with a time of 22.08 at the Gary Fiesel Open. EOU Stephen Pittman was named the CCC Men's Outdoor Field Athlete of the Week. He won the pole vault at the Fiesel Open. He recorded a mark of 4.8 meters to reach an NAIA B standard. LHS boys basketball, they unfortunately lost in the state championship game. It was a heartbreak. They were given the sportsmanship award for the tournament. They lost to Marist 57-55, but they tied the best finish in Tiger basketball history. This is the 3rd time that the Tigers have brought home a second place trophy and we're yet to win it. But you know, the reality of it is there's 3 starters coming back off of this team, and this team's going to be really solid again next year. But regardless, heck of a season, boys. I think you surprised a lot of people. Spring sports are getting ready for liftoff as JV and varsity baseball head to Vail on Thursday, and the softball team goes to Boise this weekend for a tournament. This weekend, I went to ended up being Cove and then Embler on Saturday, and then back to Embler on Sunday for a 4th through 8th grade girls basketball tournament. That's a fundraiser for Embler basketball. It was a blast. I had a really good time. In a 5th grade game, Elgin versus Cove, a young lady hit this shot right here as a game winner with time expiring. Check it. I can't That was crazy. I mean, that shot was wow. She just chucked it. That was so awesome. What a tournament too. What a good turnout. They have a lot of people out there, and it's exciting to see young kids passionate about a sport that I really enjoy as well. AM Sports Report brought to you by Hobby Habit, just for the fun of it.
All right. Good stuff, man. Thank you. All right, let's take a look outside. And it's going to warm up the next few days.
Oh, yes,
yeah,
sir.
Just wait till let's look at this weather graphic. It's just crazy. So.
Oh, it's going to be almost 70 today?
Yeah, and the next 75,
78? Is that
78? Yeah, 70. Yeah.
I can get with that, yeah.
Oh,
but then it goes all the way back down to 50 on
Saturday and Sunday,
Saturday. But it's nice all week. Partly cloudy, 75, 76, 74. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, what a shocker, man.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. It's baseball season.
Yep. When does it start officially?
Thursday.
Thursday? Locally or on national?
Oh, Major League Baseball
Yeah.
doesn't start till April.
Oh, okay.
Or right around it. It starts right around April 1st, but the LeGrand plays Thursday in Vail.
Ah, fun. Good stuff. Alrighty. Hey, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back with new LeGrand Police Chief Jason Hayes. All right, we're back with LeGrand Police Chief Jason Hayes, new LeGrand Police Chief. Yeah.
Yeah, I started February 20th, so we're almost a month in.
Man, here it goes, right?
Yeah, here it goes.
Yeah, and I think we did some recording. I mean, we did some recording of you. There's some recordings that are coming out, and it was just a few days before you started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how's it going? I mean, what do you think?
Yeah. Well, the first 2 weeks were a little overwhelming, but it's getting better. I got to say I'm so supported. There's a lot that makes a chief successful, and I have a very supportive administrative team. Rhonda, our communications manager. We have a new lieutenant now, Sean Gridley, who's a 19-year employee. Glad to promote him into the lieutenant role, so he's very supportive. My administrative assistant, Aaron. The police chaplains are our go-to. Mark Claudson and Frank Umber, our department chaplains. So definitely supported. I'm receiving a lot of support from the other city directors, city manager, HR director, the mayor and the council. So there's a lot, that hopefully I'm successful in this role, but the amount of support and respect that I've received is awesome.
Yeah. And I was at your swearing in, and man, that place was crowded. I mean, you had to have felt like honored.
I did. Very honored and blessed.
Yeah.
Again, going back to the amount of support and respect that was shown to not only me, but to our agency during my swearing ceremony.
Yeah.
And it was really neat to see some retired people that I had worked with throughout the years there and who mean so much to me and help get me to this point where I'm at now.
Yeah.
I never aspired to be a chief of police, I can tell you that.
Yeah. So, I mean, is that weird for you? I mean, it's got to be like super. I mean, if you never dreamed of yourself, because Gary's talked about that before, like you never expected, and I mean, talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. When I think about all the chapters in my career, starting out a police officer, I just wanted to serve well and serve the community in that role. But what I found out is, depending on your personality, you want to achieve new challenges. And there was a point where I felt fulfilled in doing my patrol duty, so I wanted to be a detective. And so I did a detective for many years in both a criminal detective investigating child abuse, and then I was a drug task force detective. Before I was promoted into lieutenant role, so before I was an administrator, over half my career was in detectives. That's where I really enjoyed. But I enjoyed those challenges. And then becoming a patrol sergeant was a new set of challenges that I wanted to do. And then, as I did that for 10 plus years, then the lieutenant's position came open and I was ready for those new challenges. And so Gary and I, Chief Bell, we always talked about him making it until he was age 57. So we had kicked the can down, or I had kicked the can down the road for a while, thinking that the Chiefs opening wouldn't be for another 2 years. So it kind of came on fast and sudden, and I'm very supportive of Chief Bell and his retirement. He served 33 years. That's a long time in law enforcement. And so this came on very sudden, but again, it goes back, to all the support that I had. That was shown by the attendance at my swear-in, and a lot of good people that I have a lot of partnerships with were there.
Yeah, well, and so I can imagine when you learned of Gary retirement, and of course you weren't. You had to apply for the job and everything, but still, there had to have been a little bit of a, am I ready?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The trepidation was immense.
Yeah.
Like anxiety, like, am I ready to do this?
Right.
One of the things I said in my swearing is being a chief is not an authority. It's not a title. It's a responsibility. And so when you're a police officer, you serve the community. When you're a sergeant, you serve your shift and the community. As a lieutenant, I served mostly all the police officers, but as a chief, I serve police officers, our clerical staff, our dispatchers, and the entire community of LaGrande.
Yeah.
So it's layers, and
Right.
so a little overwhelming when you think about the amount of responsibility that I now have. But Chief Bell, in the last 5 years, working side by side with him and our succession planning and stuff has prepared me. I always know that I have Chief Bell, and before him, Chief Harvey and John Courtney, and Derek Reddington, who is a lieutenant who I just love that man. I love them all, but they're only a phone call away for advice.
Yeah.
So, but again, my administrative team, they're there to help me get through whatever it may be, and whatever challenges that our department may face in the future here, and so. It is a little easier now than it was a month ago.
Right, because for a while there, you were having to still do your lieutenant job and the new chief job.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So I was very relieved when we did an application process, and I was able to promote one of the sergeants to lieutenant, and immediately that was felt. And I'm very thankful to have Lieutenant Gridley on staff now, and supporting each other.
Yeah.
So then, did they promote somebody to sergeant to fill his shoes?
Not yet, but
It's open.
But it's not open yet. But that's something that we're going to do. We want to get more up to staff. We're down a couple of positions right now, and so we want to achieve a fuller staff before we make that. But we have Jamie Carmen is working in an acting sergeant role right now. He's a 5-year employee, and so he gets to test the waters.
Has there been anything that was like a total surprise? Like, wow, I did not see this. Because you and I were talking earlier about how, Chief Bell did a good job at not letting you be overwhelmed with stuff that wasn't your business as a lieutenant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that I've noticed, the biggest surprise is there's a new chief. Everybody wants a piece of you, and to bend your ear about something. So the amount of community members and staff and professional partners all wanting to, see what my vision is for the future.
You got the good old boys tugging at you.
Yeah. So what I noticed, the biggest surprise is I use a calendar, an online calendar, and all my meetings and things, over the last 5 years are all on there. Well, it doubled when I became a chief.
Oh, yeah.
So every day, my day is full, and that's a bit of a surprise. I knew some of that would come, but I just didn't know that I would be bombarded as much as I was right out of the gates.
Yeah. Now, are you making those appointments, or your administrative assistant is helping you?
It's a little bit of both. Yeah. A funny story about administrative assistant. So Chief Bell was sitting down with me. This is before he retired, and he was just going through his files, showing me things on how to do the job of a chief of police. And after a bit, he looked at me and he says, "I'm sorry, are you overwhelmed?" And I was at the moment, because I'm like, how am I going to do all these tasks? And I said, well, I'm trying to figure this out. How am I going to do this, and how am I going to do that, and meet these time deadlines and stuff like that? He says, Jason, you're forgetting something. I'm like, what am I forgetting? He says, you have an administrative assistant that works for you. I had never, ever thought about that in my whole application process, in my succession planning to be a chief. Never once did I think that, oh, yeah, Gary, you're right. I have an administrative assistant that does those things for me, and that's Erin, and she's wonderful. So I still have to get better about delegating. Yeah. I've always been so protective of other people's time that at times I take on too much, but I am learning that in this new position I have to delegate more. So, yeah.
I can imagine so. So, like, is there, going back to that question, is there, you were talking earlier about reading the paper or having to be more aware.
Yes.
And, talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So one of the things is when we're talking about the newspaper, is I remember early in my career, Chief John Courtney, every time you'd walk by his office, he was reading the paper. Well, then when Chief Brian Harvey came in, you'd walk by and he would be reading the newspaper. And then Chief Bell would, you'd walk by and you'd see him reading the newspaper.
He was in the baseball section.
Yeah, the Yankees.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I really never understood, like, what's the importance of reading the paper? But I have quickly found out, because citizens, council, our council, our professional partners, and our staff, they ask you about questions related to articles that are written in the paper. Now, most of the time it's out of social media. That's our new way of mass communication. And so I do, but I am a fast newspaper reader, I can tell you that. I go through and I flip and I just look for headlines that I think somebody might ask me something about. And so it doesn't take me long to get through the newspaper. Right. And I don't want my staff to make fun of me.
but now it's like, what's Chief doing? Oh, he's scrolling on his phone.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's like, but still, but there is but being informed is like super important.
It is super important. And one of the, talking about that is the algorithms of social media. I have started to like other police department pages. Mm-hmm. And through the algorithms, I have my Facebook feed is just mostly about other police departments and what are they posting and what are they dealing with. And I have found it to be very informative and help guide, and also maybe do something different with our Facebook page. As we look at the evolution of social media as it relates to police departments and advertisement and showing, what we do on our day-to-day. One of the neatest, it was so simple, but I thought it was so impactful. I think it was Eugene or Springfield PD, but they posted two photos on their Facebook page, one on top of the other. And the headline was, "We are just like you." And the top photo was, I think, 6 officers in their civilian clothes. One was a rancher, one was a mom.
Yeah.
And it just showed them. And then the picture underneath it was same location, same people, but they had their uniform on. And I thought that was just very, good on them. What a great way to normalize police officers and show your community that, hey, we're just like you. We're just people,
Isn't that funny, though, how that there's something in our head that just separates them, It wasn't, and I experienced this personally, it wasn't until I was here in La Grande and that I first became acquainted with police officers as people, And before that, my experience, I had moved around where I was in bigger cities or whatever, and I just didn't have that connection. and it changes everything. I mean, rather than that's the guy who's waiting around the corner to give me a ticket because I'm speeding. It just changes the relationship totally.
It does, yeah. And we used to be, back in the '90s, we had a community policing officer who would put on citizen academies, and it was such a wonderful experience because citizens from our community could come and learn about the day-to-day duties of policing and also get that experience, kind of like with our Shop with a Cop program, where kids get to just see us as regular humans, and that we're friendly, we're kind, we're generous, we're altruistic. That's why we get into the business. It's not all about that enforcement piece. New officers, one of the things that I tell them is I tell them that you need to think of policing as a pie, and there's 3 pieces, and separated into thirds. 1/3 is prevention, crime prevention. 1/3 is education, and 1/3 is enforcement. Not any one of those is bigger than the other. And because then you have a more holistic look at enforcement and being a warrior, but also being a guardian. That's pretty powerful. Because a lot of people who get into policing, they watched cops.
Right.
Or crime shows, and it's all about the enforcement. But that's really such a small part of our job. A lot of what we do is just crisis intervention through de-escalation and mitigation, and helping people solve problems that are having a tough time of figuring out solutions on their own. Yeah.
Well, and a lot of people just don't know. I mean, because of what they see.
Right.
So if in my experience, before I really knew people like yourself, then the only thing I know about is what police officers is what I see on TV. It's what it like, and a lot of what we see these days is like, it's a use of force scenario where that scenario has been pushed to the very limit, and now somebody's going to get roughed up, and nobody is comfortable with that,
Yeah.
And so then if that is the only thing that I know, then it gives me a different shade.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I think during the George Floyd was a good, where we got to measure the pulse of our agency.
Yeah.
How are we doing with community engagement, and how do people feel about us? And that was, that was a tumultuous time. And we had a pretty good, rally protest downtown. Biggest one that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And another funny story is we had to have a police presence down there because we had a lot of rumors that were feeding the beast. So you had people that thought Antifa was coming to LeGrand. So you had the Patriots on one side of Adams Avenue.
Right, yeah,
and
kind of in Max Square.
Black
I
Lives
remember,
Matter protesters on the other side, and so we just wanted to have a presence because this could get ugly.
Yeah.
And especially when you see, going back to national media, what was happening in the larger cities.
Yeah.
So anyway, Chief, I was a lieutenant, just appointed lieutenant. I was brand new, and Gary was a new chief, and we were in a car together. And he's like, "Okay, Jason, well, we gotta get out of our car. We gotta get in and mingle with these people." And so he pulls up right in front of the Black Lives Matter protesters. And they were on the city hall side of things. And there was a lot of Eastern students and stuff represented there. And he pulls right in front of them. So my door is right in front of them. Like, they have to move for me to open my door. And I'm like, oh my goodness, here we go. Because you don't know how they're going to perceive you.
Yeah.
Because it's all an anti-police movement. And so I opened the door, and here's what I got. This is not about you. We appreciate you. You guys are doing a good job here. There was nobody in that crowd that had anything negative to say about the LeGrand Police Department.
Yeah.
And that was like, okay, we have been doing and practicing procedural justice long before the woke movement or these key buzzwords came out post George Floyd. We were doing that because it's just part of treating people with respect,
right,
and treating everybody equally, which is rooted in our mission statement.
yeah.
So yeah,
But I remember that. I mean, we did some interviews on that day, and yeah, it was everything was just so charged.
yes,
But you're absolutely right. We haven't. I mean, we've been fortunate here.
yeah,
But I mean, those. I mean, I can looking back on that, just one person, and it seems like there was an arrest. There was a dude that was
yes,
that. But still, it just takes one stupid person to spark something.
yes,
That is, when if people are a little uneasy and they misinterpret somebody's actions, then I mean it can light
yeah,
and take off.
right,
Yeah.
right.
I mean, and that's what you guys study all the time. I mean, that is what you guys prepare for. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, we do. But going back to our community, blessed to serve this community.
Yeah.
When you grow up here and stuff, I think that makes it special. But to just also see the amount of support that we have from everybody. It doesn't matter what political side you are on, what your history is,
Yeah.
Yeah, we're treated really well, and so I appreciate that.
Loveland Safe Ride says good morning.
I tell you a funny story. So I was down in Troy, and it wasn't too long after all of that, and they were having the incidents in Portland and all of that business, and was down in Troy. It was for the 4th of July, and actually they have their 4th of July on the 5th of July down there, and so that's when they have their fireworks display. Well, the place was packed, and I ran into a Wallowa County sheriff's deputy, and he was just a little bit different because he was in his 50s. He wasn't your normal sheriff's deputy, and he was super nice, and I engaged him, it's like, well, I've just been on the job 3 weeks. Like, well, where did you come from? Oh, I came from Portland. I was on the Portland Police Department. He was so happy. I mean, he was like, anything I face today is totally mild compared to the climate that he had been in.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah. But again, it reminded me though of what a difficult job it is. That sometimes, I mean, regardless of their opinion, whoever opinion is about what a police officer does or they're supposed to do, your job is still the same.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if somebody is threatening to hurt somebody else, you have to intercede. That's the whole point of what it is that you're doing.
It is. Yeah. And if you look at the amount of responsibility police officers have, we are responsible for the Constitution of the United States, the Oregon Code of Ethics for police officers, policy, procedure, state law, federal law, case law. And if you were to stack those all up in binders, it would probably be about 4 feet tall.
Yeah.
And we're responsible for all that. And so we take that, that responsibility seriously. And, we're always in pursuit of the truth.
Yeah.
That's one of our missions. And to treat, Chief Bell would always say, I want you to treat somebody just the way you would want your mom to be treated by a police officer.
That's right.
And so that's our mantra, and respect, trust, transparency, and everybody has a voice, it'll be interesting moving forward. Because I see, I've been here almost 28 years, so, I've seen trends.
Right.
And so it'll be interesting what trends are going to come in the next 20 years. Now, I'm not going to be here that long. But in policing, what's the trends going to be that, our police officers and dispatchers face moving forward?
And before we go on, and I know Barbara Bell, Chief Bell's mom. So I have a real live picture of how somebody is to be treated,
Yes.
and how fairly. What trends do you see out there? I mean, when you look at us and you have the ability to look at 28 years of experience, and you see this emerging whatever that is out there. I mean, what do you kind of see are some of the trends that are affecting us in some manner?
Yeah, well, of course, the political culture, the polarizing of the political atmosphere, if you will, is a trend, where it makes it difficult for law enforcement right now because there's so many legislative changes that come out of that polarizing or come out of events, and we're just like, hey, you just tell us what to do and we'll do it.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see where politically our nation goes moving forward, because it does impact police officers through usually legislative changes. Another trend is, of course, the fentanyl, and where is that going to go? Because early in my career, methamphetamine was the drug of choice. When Oregon passed the law in 2006 that changed where you couldn't get Sudafed over the counter anymore, all those clandestine labs disappeared. So to make up for it, the new trend was prescription pill fraud. But then, that lasted for a while, and then it went back to methamphetamine and now fentanyl. But in LeGrand, methamphetamine is still the drug of choice. But where's that trend going to go? There was other things that hit the radar for such a short period of time. Kratom, Krotom, I believe. That was something that was a worry for a little bit, but there's some of those things that never really took, and I'm glad for it. The mental health crisis is the biggest trend right now that we're dealing with. And we could talk for hours. I'm passionate. It's one of my passion projects is mental health in our society and how it impacts law enforcement. And that is, we have... Oregon has not set us up for success. It's a societal issue. It's not a police issue. But the way the legislation is currently set up, it's making criminals of people who are not criminals. People who are in crisis are committing crimes because they're not getting the resources that they need.
Yeah, because they want to be safe.
Yeah, and I don't blame any of our behavioral health folks here. The people that we work with in collaboration on behavioral health here in Union County, we have great team. We have a multidisciplinary approach, but they all reach the same roadblocks, and that's money and bed space and places that we can get people to get them rebalanced and then reintroduced back into our community. So that's a trend that I would like to see get fixed and not be an issue for our law enforcement, in the future. Because early in my career, it wasn't a problem, and I did a study. Why was it not then, but it is now? And we could talk in length about that.
No, what is that? I mean, that's interesting.
Yeah, well, the root was funding. So early in my career, we used to deal with somebody who was in crisis one time, and we would call CHD, Behavioral Health. They would come and they could do an involuntary placement on our one contact. Yeah. And that was the reason, because the bar to involuntarily place somebody was inability to care. And that's a lower bar to reach to involuntarily place somebody. And then we had an acute psychiatric center in Pendleton. So we had more of those around the state. So bed space was available. So you deal with them one time, they would go to the acute psychiatric center, get rebalanced, and then they could go home. Well, what happened is they cut the funding. So they cut the funding, which eliminated a lot of the bed spaces available. So now you have the entire state of Oregon vying for very few beds available for people who are experiencing a crisis. And so to compensate for that, they raised the bar they must pose a serious threat to themselves or somebody else. And in Oregon, that's a very high bar to reach. So what you have is you have us dealing with the same person over and over and over again until they decompensate so badly that they finally reach that bar, and then they can be involuntarily placed. Oregon is a civil rights before public safety state, and I'm not saying that is a bad thing. I'm just saying that these are the facts. And when that is your thing, then mental health is a voluntary service. So for most people in crisis, they need to voluntarily want to get help.
So
If they don't, then then they need to be placed on a civil commitment and an involuntary placement, and that is so difficult in our state. And
That's wild.
So let's
Yeah.
back up, because you said something was very interesting.
yeah,
Civil rights over public safety, meaning that, you know, if somebody wants to be unbalanced, and they want to be unbalanced on a street and the public sidewalk downtown,
correct.
then, I mean, part of their rights of being part of their civil rights is they're able to do that.
That's correct. That's absolutely correct.
Right. And they might be annoying. They might be, I mean, they could camp outside of somebody's business and chase customers away or whatever it might be. But if they're not causing a public safety thing, I mean, kind of help me understand how that tips there.
Yeah. So to get further into the weeds on this,
Yeah.
what happens is when somebody doesn't want to get help,
Okay.
and so they're in crisis, whatever the cause is. You know, a lot of what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Is the person experiencing mental health behaviors due to intoxication from illicit drugs, or is it biological, or does one compound the other, where it's both? And so these are things that our behavioral health people have to take into effect in their assessments. Well, what happens is people who are experiencing crisis, they're the ones that the police get called on, because they look like a spider on a wedding cake. Their behaviors are such that they're acting out, and people are concerned about them. So our officers go. And what happens is we get a hold of behavioral health, and we try to collaborate and come up with a plan. But because that bar is so high, we can't involuntarily place them. So there's safety plans. But the person, if they don't cooperate with behavioral health teams here in Union County, then their hands are tied. So what happens is we keep getting calls, and what happens is they ultimately commit low-level misdemeanor crimes. Criminal trespass and disorderly conduct being the two most popular. Sometimes a theft 3. So then we have a victim. And so we have tried to do jail diversion. We have tried to keep this person from being arrested. But the system is set up that ultimately we arrest them, they go to jail, and they are not a criminal. But they committed crimes because of the root cause, their mental health status. And the jail holds them. Well, there's nowhere to send them, so the jail becomes a holding cell for people who are in crisis. Yeah. And there's a lot of people that could talk more informed. You know, I'm very good friends with the jail commander for the Union County Jail. And we're all frustrated. And they could each speak, you know, CHD, behavioral health, the Grand Ronde Hospital, the district attorney's office, law enforcement. You know, we're trying to come up with solutions to keep these people from having to go to jail, but the system is made of where jail becomes a holding place for them. And here's more about the frustration of this. So this is a couple of years ago. We had somebody, but this happens all the time. But we had a specific person who we got arrested 19 times in 2 months.
By you guys?
Yes.
Okay.
Because of the root cause being behavioral health.
That's one every 3
And
days.
we did police officer holds during that, which is what a police officer hold is. That gives the police officers the ability to take somebody into protective custody. They're not under arrest. They're under protective custody only long enough to turn them over to behavioral health. When they're experiencing crisis, when we deem that they're a danger to themselves or others. And that would happen, but because of limitations within the Oregon Health Authority, they would get safety planned and released. So we just kept dealing, and this person kept committing low-level misdemeanor crimes. Finally, I wrote a letter that helped the DA help keep this person in jail. This person got a defense attorney. They had a mental health evaluation done on him, and this person was deemed unable to aid and assist in their own defense. When that happens, the district attorney has to drop the charges. But the person didn't reach the level to be involuntarily committed and was released, and we were right back to the same thing.
Yeah.
So that's a broken system that we're dealing
You
with.
can't aid and assist in your own defense, but you're not gone enough to be in, placed in.
Yeah. And I'm giving you
Fortunately.
paraphrasing.
Right, right,
you
right.
know, but because each person in that scope of care, starting with law enforcement, and then the district attorney, the jail, the court systems, the attorneys, sometimes the emergency room is always involved in these
Right.
things. They can each talk specifics,
Right.
about the limitations, the barriers they have. I feel bad for our behavioral health team because one, they're not paid enough to do what they do, and they have a high burnout rate, and they have the same problem that police have right now, and that is recruitment and retention and keeping staff.
It's all this right
Yeah.
here. That's all it's all about.
Yeah. So what's the fix? To me, it would be, somehow we need to get prioritized legislative funding back into our mental health services. Have more facilities at our disposal, lower that bar to involuntarily place somebody, and pay our mental health workers, what they should be paid to deal with that kind of work.
In the 80s and the 90s, like the mental health people in Oregon were actually misdiagnosing people just to get them funding. The perfect example, I used to write behavior support plans for people with dual diagnosis. So that's mental health and developmental disability. Well, in order to be developmentally disabled in Oregon, you have to be below 75 IQ. That's the standard, at the time. I don't know what it is now. But what they would do is they would take somebody that was above that and they would say they were below it that had serious mental health issues just so they could get them services.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it like that, but maybe that's one of the ways to, I don't know. It seems like there's not a lot of alternatives.
Yeah. If you had a panel up here, because we do, where everybody who's a stakeholder that is involved in this mental health crisis, it's very interesting, to hear, because we all have our own frustrations and barriers that we have. And what it's made our police officers, we are very good at de-escalation and mitigation, just trying to keep people out of jail through trying to be the conduit, one, de-escalate their behaviors, and then trying to be a conduit where we can convince them to want to get help.
Right.
Gary Bell used to always say it's the dwell time. The time that it takes our officers to respond to these calls and de-escalate and that full, scope of care of trying to come up with a solution ties up our officers an hour per call.
Yeah, a lot of resources.
Yeah, it was about 3 weekends ago. We have one person that has been experiencing a lot of behaviors, had 16 calls for service on that particular person in one day.
Wow.
So, that, and we're still dealing with that person because they haven't decompensated to the point where an involuntary placement can happen.
Wow.
Well, and talking about the person that you were talking about before, arrested 16 times over a course of, there's a victim there too.
There is.
I mean, all of the focus is on this person as a victim, but there's something that they're being arrested for.
Right.
And so, they're legitimately as a victim somewhere there.
Yes,
And
correct.
and they're experiencing the frustration.
Oh, absolutely.
And so they're calling you and like, hey, we've called you 5 times about this.
Right.
And so the citizenry, the ones that are paying the bills, they're frustrated.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we hear about it.
Yeah, of course.
know.
Yeah,
And we educate,
Yeah.
we're like, hey, we understand your frustration. That we're doing the best that we can.
Yeah.
But these are things that, need to make changes at the legislative level to really make a positive impact on this.
Now there's a conversation going on, and you're probably aware of that, about, something being built here locally to help with this, some kind of a bed space, some place for people to go.
Yes.
Okay. And so one catch us up on that. The but is though is that they still have to be able to, they have to volunteer to go, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's several things that are being talked about, because one is when you're talking about addiction
Yeah.
and detox.
Yeah.
So that's one. The other one would be mental health bed space for somebody in acute psychiatric center. If you
Yeah, there
will.
hasn't been much talk about that, right? It's been
No,
more addiction.
It's been more about addiction because Baker has a detox
Baker
facility,
House.
and if they can do it, why can't LeGrand? So that would really help our CHD, our substance abuse and addiction recovery staff workers, that they have, because you need to strike when the iron's hot. And what I'm saying is, if you have somebody who's suffering from an addiction and they want help, that thought could change.
Yes, it can.
Yeah.
So if they're asking for help now, what we lack in Oregon is especially in LeGrand, is a place, okay, let's go. And I'll drive you there right now. We don't have that in LeGrand. Because if you leave it too much time, it's like, hey, we'll make your appointment. It looks like you have an appointment in Bend in 6 months from now.
Yeah.
They're right
No,
back on the
you lost
bottle
them.
or the.
So I know that there's efforts, and that's outside my, ability to speak too intelligently about. But we fully support it. We support the Right Track Resource Center, the warming station. That has turned out to be a wonderful tool for police. So any of these facilities and places that we can get people into that are better connected and have mentors and have constant guidance to help them in their own treatment and recovery, that's a useful tool for law enforcement. Yeah. So fully supportive. We work with so many partners here in LeGrand, and they are all like very wonderful in their motives, very altruistic and wanting to help people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so what else is out there? So is there anything, when you look at our department, you look at 27 years, you have some preferences.
Sure.
You have to have developed some preferences along the way. So what are some things that you kind of hope that we can move towards? Maybe that has been an idea, or I don't know, kind of.
Well, certainly, I'm very proud of our agency, and that's, our dispatchers, our police officers, our clerical staff, and our admin team. I am very proud that up until now, we are able to provide our employees with the best equipment, best training, best tools for the job that we possibly can. And so want to definitely do what I can, at the city hall level and with budget committees to sustain that. And looking into the future, of course, we would like the addition of a couple more police officers because the crime rates are increasing, but our staffing is staying the same. So especially our day shifts are very overburdened. But part of the problem with that is recruitment and retention.
Right.
We're having a difficult time recruiting, but that's an industry standard nationwide. Yeah. But for example, about 3 weeks ago, we had, so we have 2 police officer positions open right now. And so we had testing about 3 weeks ago. We had 10 applications total. When I started, you would have had close to 100 for one position. We had 10. Out of the 10, only 5 RSVP'd to show up for testing. On test day, 1 was a no-show, so we only had 4. 3 failed our physical fitness test. So 1 candidate passed the physical, passed the written, passed the interview. We gave them a pre-employment background packet to fill out, and then they ghosted us, never communicated with us again.
How hard is the physical test?
It's not, if you prepare for it, it's not that hard. It's called ORPAT, and it's a state designated.
Is it a pack test?
No, it's an obstacle course.
Oh, obstacle course?
Yeah, and we set it up we rent the Armory for a morning, and we set it up there. It's a 5.5 minute
You don't have to do anything like super out of the world.
No, not at all. No, this is basically you run upstairs, downstairs, you crawl under a mat, over a mat, and you do this course 6 times, and it's a time thing.
Huh.
Normally, we might lose one candidate at the physical fitness test, but we're just, we're not having a lot of people apply for one, and then qualified applicants is it's a hiring puddle, not a pool.
So why is that, do you think? What do you think that you're not getting enough? We don't have enough money to offer, or the pool is smaller, or both?
Well,
or,
it's a perfect storm.
Yeah.
So one is, if you look at the national birth rates nationally, the amount of 18-year-old and young kids coming into the workforce right now is the less that it has been since, well, it's declined ever since the 1970s.
Right. And schools are being impacted by that also.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
So number one is you just have less people applying for jobs.
Yeah. Okay.
Number two, the national sentiment towards policing impacts the amount of people who are inspired to be a police officer.
Right.
When little kids, they always wanted to be a firefighter
Right.
or a police officer. They still want to be a firefighter, but and so you have what happens on what national media puts out without putting out the full story of situations and stuff, and the perceived hatred towards policing that has a negative impact.
For sure.
And then third would be just competitive pay. And so, agencies, they get recruits, but all agencies in Oregon are competing against each other.
Everybody's got the same problem.
Everybody's got the same problem. So one agency pays more, that attracts a few more. Then another agency was like, well, they're getting paid more, so we need to try to get paid more. And that, pay does help. And we're comparable with towns our size, if not just slightly behind. And so we're in negotiations this year with our association, and they're going to ask for more competitive pay, and we'll see how that shakes out for them. And but that would definitely help. We've been trying different recruiting efforts. I think that's something we always have to try to think outside the box and think of new things, new ways. We've tried some recruitment videos. We've changed, some of our advertisement verbiage, some of our mission. I had spoke with Grand Run Hospital and Eastern Oregon University because they're just like us. They can't pay what other universities or other hospitals pay. Mm-hmm. So how are they drawing applicants? Well, they capitalize on our area, the quality of life. Mara, Wallowa Lake, fishing, hiking, horseback riding. What is it here that other places don't have?
Mm-hmm.
And so we've tried that. Yeah, low crime rate. I did a study here recently. I took 10 towns in Oregon that were comparable to the size of LeGrand. Out of those 10, we're the third lowest crime rate. Baker and Silverton were the only two lower than us, and good for them.
Yeah.
But I mean, that tells you that we're doing something right.
I thought
this isn't as
LeGrand's
bad
like
as
6th lowest in the whole state.
Yeah.
Or something. I read something like that.
We're doing well, what some people's perceptions may be. So, yes. Anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like all these things just in a ball, and it's
it's like this perfect storm right now, and so we'll continue our recruitment efforts and evolving that, and maybe we can reach through this association a pay that's more competitive, that may have somebody choose LeGrand over Baker, or LeGrand over Hermiston or something. So.
Well, and what's the problem is, as because I'm in, I go to the city council meetings. I understand the LeGrand's fiscal challenges that they're looking at. Okay.
Yes.
And so, and one of the departments in LeGrand is the police department.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I mean, a lot of people they just don't put this together. That is, if there's only so much money, and we need more money from the police department to have better wages, to recruit more officers, then that I mean, at the end of the day, it means that parks might get less money, or
Right.
roads, or I mean, it's not like you can just generate money out of nowhere. I mean,
Correct.
yeah, and so I mean, those are the real live issues, and I mean, and I've watched over the years where. Because Marianne Meisner will ask every time, are we full? Are we full? Ask
Yeah.
the police chief, are we full up to staff?
Yes.
And so I've been aware of that, but there's only so much funds, and so there's that challenge also, and how that's got to be frustrating at times.
Well, for sure. And in my position, I advocate for both the city
Right, you have to.
and the departments.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm learning as we're in this budget season and working with our new city manager John and his fiscal plan for the next 5 years, and how does the PD fit into that?
Yeah.
One of the things that helped is here 2 years ago I did a recruitment and retention survey with our operations, with our police officers. And I asked 2 questions. What are we doing that we shouldn't be doing as far as it goes recruitment and retention? And what are we doing that we shouldn't be doing in regards to recruitment and retention? Now, surveys are only good if the members trust you enough to give you honest feedback.
Yeah, 100%.
And I felt like I had that honesty, trust with the operations. And of course, the survey was anonymous. And boy, it really helped me, but the number one thing that came out of that was more competitive pay.
Yeah,
So
100%.
for me, I got to listen to my employees.
Of course,
you
yeah.
know. But how do you get there? That's
Right.
another thing. But there was other things that we were able to do. If you look at our officers, they're wearing new uniform shirts now that are black. They're made of a different fabric that are more comfortable now that we have external carriers. We loosened our facial hair, so now our guys can have beards. Tattoos, we loosened our tattoo policy so that arm sleeve tattoos are now, as long as they're tasteful, are permissive. And so we're trying to keep up with industry standards, and also what can we do to help recruit people who may not apply otherwise, without lowering our standards.
Right.
That's what we don't want to do is lower our standards and the quality of people that we're looking for.
Right. But still, that's wisdom. Wisdom is what's low-hanging fruit that we can take. We might not have all the money in the world,
Yeah.
but what problems can we solve?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know, moving forward is, the city manager and, he's looking at grant opportunities. And it's like, okay, well, what grants, in the world of policing work good for equipment. I know sometimes body cameras have been a topic. John Lackey hits me up with that all the time. Like, hey, when are you going to go to, body cameras? Well, it's very expensive because the upfront cost for us to get them is $65,000.
Yeah.
And that's a low priority when I have all these other tools that I need to, purchase, cars, pay, all these other things, but maybe, grant. But that's just, that incurs an ongoing cost.
Right. And Gary was good at explaining that all of that footage has to be archived, has to be accessible, because it's a part of the public record.
And it creates more work.
Right.
When we're already, busting at the seams.
Yeah. So somebody at the police department, their job description is going to increase by like archive the footage, catalog it. You have to have storage place. I mean, so
I'm actually kind of surprised it isn't a state law.
Me too. And we'll see, moving forward, it may become. And
I'm more for protecting the cops than, you know what I mean? Like, because you never know. Somebody can say some
right.
Who knows? You know what I mean? Like, it would, I'm not anti-cameras at all. Like, but I get the whole money part of it.
Yeah,
too.
and then the technological part of it,
You have to have, you probably have to have a full-time staff just to do the cameras.
Yeah, and make sure they're working properly. And,
yeah.
IT.
So, we're not opposed to it by any means. It's just how do we get there, so.
All right. Well, hey, thank you, man.
You are welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
today.
and you're going to be on once a quarter,
Okay.
just like Chief Bell was, and we're glad that you're here, man.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate your support.
Yeah.
Let's
All right.
do it.
Get us out of here.
On this day, March 17th, 1845, the rubber band is patented by Stephen Perry of London. 2016, that's a big jump, huh? Almost 100 years later. The archaeologists announced the discovery of a 25-year-old Iron Age warrior king burial ground with 75 graves in northern England. 2019, Facebook removes 1.5 million videos of the Christchurch mosque shootings in the first 24 hours after the attack. Only half of them were blocked at upload, and that's crazy because, I mean, you're talking almost 5 million videos uploaded within 24 hours, and they were only able to block half of them. So half of them got onto Facebook. I think it's gotten a little bit better since then. 2024, Quiet on the Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV, documentary detailing the toxic nature of some of Nickelodeon's shows, which we all grew up with during the 90s and early 2000s premieres on Netflix. The number one song in America on this day in 2006, You're Beautiful by James Blunt. And the quote of the day comes from Harriet Woods. You can stand tall without standing on someone. You can be a victor without having victims. One more time. You can stand tall without standing on someone. You can also be a victor without having victims.
All right. Hey, thank you, Jason. Appreciate you being here.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you guys for being here. We'll see you soon.